The most important thing that people get out of this podcast is insight into the strategies or requirements for the ability to keep going. To have done 71 different programs, many of them multiple times. You got moods, you got ADHD, you got donut day, whatever. You got setbacks in life, career challenge. Like, how, Dennis, have you managed to stay consistent since 2013?
I truly believe that it's my own personal commitment to myself. And I think once people are able to clear the noise in our heads about why we can't do something, I believe that you'll be able to achieve whatever you want. I committed to doing 12 half marathons when I was 49 years old, so that when I hit 51, I will have completed 12 half marathons. And let me tell you, it was not easy. Doing a New Year's Eve, December 31st, and then a New Year's Day back to back was exhausting. My body was aching. But I did a new BODi program, and it helped, and it reduced 10 minutes off my run time.
Wow.
I knew that this was what I needed to do. I believe that once we clear the mess, and I call it the mess that's inside our heads, we'll be able to be successful and consistent.
Welcome to the first episode of the BODi Experience podcast that we are recording in 2026. And we're going to kick this off with a story of somebody who has managed to find a way to stay consistent for 12 years with BODi programs. But what I find interesting, he's the same age as me. But what I find interesting is how consistent he's been when life happens, when things can derail you, but he just manages to keep showing up with enthusiasm and going from program to program. And you'll be blown away to learn how many BODi programs he's done. So please welcome to the BODi Experience podcast, Mr. Dennis Yslas. Dennis, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, good to see you, Carl.
Good to see you. So you started back in 2013 at 50 years old. What's mind-blowing is there had to be some inflection point that got you started at that age with this kind of platform. What was the catalyst to getting you started?
Well, by the age of 50, you've done pretty much every diet, every kind of workout program that you can think of, because by the time you get to be 50, you've lived quite a bit of life. At 49, I went to my doctor, my yearly physical. My doctor said, "Hey, Dennis, let's not forget, you have a family history of heart disease, diabetes, obesity, high cholesterol, high blood pressure." And the list kept going. And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "You need to take some action to try to fix that. We can certainly give you drugs." And I'm like, "Let's not do drugs right now. I want to get into my 50s and see what I can do." I was vegetarian for 11 years also to try to manage some of this stuff. And I was introduced to BODi. And I said, "You know what? I am going to try this." Interestingly enough, I tried Shakeology prior and enjoyed it, and then came back to it because I needed something to help me with nutrition, because that's really where I struggle. But I committed to doing 12 half marathons when I turned 50 years old. And part of that commitment was my commitment to my personal health. I knew that I needed to do something to get me through my 50s and into whatever age I'm going to live to be.
That's really interesting. You made a decision to run 12 half marathons at 50 years old, but instead of just running, which is free, you can go do whatever you want, you decided to dive into BODi programs.
I am not a bodybuilder. I am not one that likes to lift weights. I love yoga. Yoga is my thing. That's something I've done for well over 25 years now. And when you all introduced PIO in 2024,
No,
I
2014,
I'm sorry,
2014.
2014, thank you.
Yep.
Um, when you introduced PIO, I was all in.
Mm.
And PIO is still to this day a regular program that I go back to at least once a year.
Oh, wow. What is that? I forget. Is it 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
It's 2 months, yeah, 8 weeks.
Okay. So was that the first program that you did with us?
It was, and I've done it many times since.
And that's That's probably very telling because the way Shalene designed that program was not just to be a, soft, easy sort of mat Pilates, functional movement program. She really wanted that to be great cross training, complementing a normal or a more aggressive training protocol, perhaps for sports. I know she's had athletes in it, and you were running. So, how did it support your half marathon goals?
Well, that's interesting you say that because I had already been running 8 months since then. After the first 2 weeks of doing PIO, I cut 10 minutes off of my marathon running time, my half marathon running time.
Wow.
I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed. I was like, "Why did I get faster?" And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. I started this new program that is based on Pilates and yoga 2 weeks ago, and I find that it truly was the catalyst that got me through the next 3 months, July, August, September, and let me finish all 12 half marathons in the 12 months that I committed to."
That's amazing. So, I want to get to dig in a second because that's the last thing that you did, but you've done 71 body programs. And I assume that there's some repeats in there. So you've basically earned completion for 71 programs.
Actually, those are non-repeated numbers.
Oh, wow.
71 is 71 non-repeated numbers. So, I only counted PIO once, but I did do iron blocks. I also did 3-week yoga retreat. So we've got a lot of different programs on you've got a lot of different programs on the platform that allow me to do something for a shorter period of time. There's a 5-day yoga challenge. That I consider to be a program. So
Sure. So how do you pick them? Like how far in advance do you plan them? Do you have like a whole calendar set up? Do you decide when you're done one program? How do you go about that?
I'm a fly by the seat of my pants type of person. So I actually decide right as I finish another program, while I finish a program, what I'm going to do next. And that is more because my ADD is just rampant and I have to just I can't plan that far ahead, right? Like I know that you all are planning to launch a new program in February. Well, I can't think that far in advance right now. I've got to do what I'm doing right now. And so I actually consider length of workout and what versatility in terms of mobility, weight training, hit workouts, or items that are different than what I've done before. I have to do some yoga. I have to do some mobility. Chop wood, carry water is one of my favorites because I love that mobility. I need that mobility at 62 years old. Being able to go back to 3-week yoga retreat just to clear my head. If you may not know this, but I run a nonprofit. We're a service organization for theaters across the state of Texas, and I have a very busy schedule. If the workouts are over 30 minutes, it's going to be a stretch for me to do the workouts, to do the program. I mean, I'm very honest about that because I can't schedule that all the time. You run a company, you know exactly what I mean. We're all busy in today's world, and it's difficult to say, I'm going to do a 45-minute or I'm going to commit 45 minutes a day. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. I do like certain trainers, and certain trainers motivate me differently. I do try to see, okay, maybe this trainer is going to motivate me differently to do that 45-minute workout.
Hmm. So what is that motivation for you? Like what motivation resonates with you versus like some people like to be told and like give it to me drill sergeant style. Some people like a softer approach. What's yours?
I'm pretty self-motivated. I just need to be told what we're doing. I don't need you to give me quotes. I don't need a trainer to give me quotes to motivate me. I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna do my workout, and I know I'm gonna do it because I committed to myself in 2013 to be as healthy and fit as I possibly can for as long as I can. And I know that that to me is what's going to help me get through whatever my life is going to be. And so I do not need somebody to yell at me, first of all. I've shut it off and I will stop doing the program. And I've only done that once before. Um, but it just is, to me, it's one of those, I'm pretty self motivated. You tell me what I'm doing and what it's doing for my body. and I'm gonna love the program. Just like the one that I just completed, Dig In.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to that. So, that launched toward the end of November. We started the group, I guess, 1st or 2nd of December. What so talking about your ADD, what did you do immediately prior to Dig In?
So funny, I was doing Power of Four, which you all launched in October. And I was like, let me try something. I want to go back to the OG, let me try a Tony Horton program again. And so I started that, but I then saw that you were doing a test group for Dig In. That's where my ADD kicked in.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, Power of Four, I like it. It's kind of longish. I like the stop options of that. I really do like it. I literally started again month 2 today. But I needed something knowing that Shanti had created 30-minute workouts that included some of his insanity stuff. Insanity Max 30 was my 3rd program to start with BODi, and so it was nice that I could go back to that. I knew that I have weights here at the house and a bench, and I knew that I could modify that, and at 62 years old, I'm not lifting as heavy as I would like or as I did, at an earlier age, but it's still challenging for me, and I knew that Shanti was gonna motivate me. And when he tells me, "Hey, you can do it," I feel motivated.
Hmm. So tell me about your experience of the program. Like, look, well, I'll start with my experience of it. I was actually blown away. I found, even though, I had a hand in envisioning insanity, um, it lives up to its name. It's so hard that I have a hard time following through with that. It's just excruciating. But the idea of low impact insanity mixed into weightlifting with some abs in every routine was so well rounded and just checked all the boxes for me. I was blown away at what we were able to achieve in a half hour, and also loved the variety, the way the workout was constructed, because I never felt miserable because I always know it was gonna
Exactly.
change in 10 minutes. So, all right, that's my story. Tell me your story.
No, I feel the same way. I was actually kind of skeptical starting because I was like, 10 days? I have 10 days before I get a rest day? I'm sorry, I'm a Saturday, Sunday rest guy. You're busy during the week. I wanna take Saturday and Sunday and go do something. I wanna eat my donuts and, do something different.
That blows my mind because I find Saturday and Sunday the days when I can really focus on the workout without feeling the pressure to get it done in time to get on the Zoom, you know?
That's funny. I'm totally different. I like Saturday and Sunday rest days. I like to do some stretching and maybe a yoga practice or something, but I prefer to take the days off. But with Dig In, I had to shift my mindset. Interestingly enough, by the time I got to that first rest day on day 10, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not mad about this. I didn't mind working out on Saturday and Sunday because those workouts were only 30 minutes.
Right.
And because they were 30 minutes, I was in and out, and so it didn't bulk my day. It didn't take a big bulk of my day.
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm done. I can still go do my Costco run and do all the other things that you have to get done on a weekend because you're busy during the week." And I can schedule the workouts during the week. But I actually appreciated the way the phases worked because doing 10 workouts or 9 workouts and then getting a rest day, I actually felt invigorated on that rest day. I actually did some yoga on those days. The way that Shanti has curated this particular workout program really worked well for me. As you said, I needed low impact. Pio, when I did Pio in 2014, I loved if there was a modifier included in the program. And I felt for the first time that I could actually do these workouts because I didn't have to go like the super trainer. The fact that Insanity Max 30 allowed me to max out and say, I can only do it up to this point. I'm the modifier king, right? So when I saw that we were doing low impact, high intensity interval training stuff, I was like, this is for me. This is for me. It worked wonderfully. And I say that from we were quick, the reps were constant or were consistent. I understood that each phase was going to be different. I didn't feel like I was confused about anything at any
Mm.
time. and
Mm.
that's really, really important for a person with ADHD.
So I've it's interesting for somebody who's done 71 programs, um, to say that it worked. What does that mean for you? Because, I mean, are you to this day at 62 years old, are you playing for an after photo? Like, what is your what is your yardstick for feeling gratified by the program that you pick?
A few years ago, I got into what I call weight maintenance mode, right? I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't need to lose weight. I don't need to gain weight. I just need to retain the muscle that I have. And that's super important, especially as we age. And being able to say, I want to stay at this weight range. I don't even say I want to stay at a specific weight. I give myself a weight range and I'm like, I'm going to stay at this weight range and I'm going to be happy with that. That's big also for my brain because mentally I could say I need that after photo to be dynamic, but I've done that. And after I want to say I reached that at about 56 years old. I'm like, you know what? I just need to maintain because I'm not trying to show everybody, hey, I lost all this weight. You can too. That's not what I want to do. I just want to show, hey, you can stay consistent and you can still enjoy life and be and do a workout program and stay looking the same. So I did see some results with Dig In when I finished it. I did lose a couple of inches off my waist and gained a little bit on my arms and my legs, which is great. But you can't really see a difference. My before and after, they look almost identical, and that's okay. My clothes is fitting a little different, and that's okay too.
Mhm. Now, what do you do with, for this many years? You mentioned that you drink Shakeology. What how does that fit into your overall nutrition plan? Like, how rigid are you about that?
I drink water all the time, and,
Mm.
this is a gift that we got from BODi for drinking for being a 365er, so I drink my Shakeology every day. It really is one of those things being able to add I'm like you, I don't like vegetables, right? So, I put my spinach, I put my blueberries, do flaxseed and powdered peanut butter in my shake every day, and that helps me, and that fills me up, and it gets me through the day. And it's one of those things that, people say, "You still drink that shake?" Yeah, I still drink that shake because it makes me feel good.
Mm. And what about the rest of the day? Like, does that how does it fit into your meal planning? How rigid are you about that?
I'm not very rigid, so because I have ADHD, well, not because I have ADHD, but I also have OCD, so I like things to be consistent,
Mm.
right? Because of 2B Mindset, and I use 2B Mindset, the 2B Mindset nutrition plan to guide me through my nutrition. I discovered that almost every day I have strawberries, yogurt, and granola, the way that Alana told me to create it. I have that almost every single day. Then I have my shake, and then I treat myself to something every once in a while. Yeah, I do have some donuts every once in a while because you know what? I'm 62 years old and no one's gonna tell me what I can't have. But it's also important that I stay consistent with everything that I eat. I know what my triggers are in terms of poor sleep, poor mental health. I know that sugar really spikes a lot of elements of my disorders, and so it's important for me to say I'm going to manage my sugar, and that's what zero sugar psychology does for me too, right? I we use very little sugar in the house. We do stevia. Don't misread that. I love donuts, and I will tell you, you can watch me live on some of my social media eating donuts because I love them. But I know that that's a treat for me, and
Well,
that was
hold on. I need to double click into this because I don't understand it. Like, I literally don't, and I'm not judging it.
right, right, yeah.
But like, I look at these donuts and, like, I see that donut over your shoulder, and, I can understand the attraction, but I don't know, man, that bite is never as satisfying as what it looks like it's gonna be. Maybe, I don't maybe I've aged out of it personally, but it's just like, "Oh, that cake or that donut," it's like, makes you salivate, and then I have that bite, and it just immediately feels bad, and I don't think it's not a judgment thing on the sweet, it's just like, I can feel it. My whole body's like, "Oh, why? Well, come on. Now we gotta work. I gotta work so hard to process this thing." I don't get it. Tell me why I should eat donuts.
I'm not saying you should eat donuts, first of all. I'm saying I can eat donuts. Every person's body is different, and we have to learn what works for us. Donuts are okay for me every once in a while, right? I know that. I had to learn that through a process of saying, "Can I have a donut or 2? Yeah, I can. Okay, maybe I'm gonna have some more, and I'm only gonna have them a few days a week." That I don't feel the same way that you do. It's just like a person that's doing a GLP-1, and I have several friends that are doing GLP-1s right now, and I don't judge them because I don't have what they call that food noise. I don't have that. And it's one of those things when I heard somebody tell me about that, I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Yeah, I finish a meal and I'm ready for the next meal." And I'm like, I'm not that way. I finish a meal and I'm done." And we're all wired differently. I'm not a doctor of any sort, so I can't really tell you how all that works, but I can tell you that for me personally, that works. I can have a donut and say, "It really tastes good." But I also know that I restricted myself for a very long time. I used Portion Fix, and I restricted myself. When I did 80-day obsession, I waited for that refeed day, right? I mean, that refeed day was so important for me. But I realized that I don't have to, now that I'm older, worry about restricting myself all the time. So, I don't restrict myself all the time, and I tried to use what Alana says, I treat myself, and that's a treat, and not because I've lost weight, it's a treat because I know that if I die tomorrow, and that sounds morbid, if I die tomorrow, I died a happy man because I had a donut today.
That's interesting. So, well, look, everybody's different. I wouldn't say the same thing about pizza. Like pizza, put pizza in front of me, and I'm a happy guy. So everybody's got their thing. Now, I'm interested again. The choice to do dig in at 62 years old. Um, you hear a lot these days about longevity. Like longevity is now this new buzzword. um, I wonder what your thoughts are on longevity. I've got my own opinion, and I'll say mine after you say yours. But as a guy, we're both 62. How does what does this buzzword of longevity mean to you? How does it play into your decisions about nutrition and choosing a program like Dig In? And what is your philosophy as you make these choices in your 60s?
My doctor's the same age as I am, and he tells me every time I go for my yearly physical, he goes, "Dennis, we're the same age. We should be having the same problems. What are you doing differently?" And I don't know that I have an answer. I don't know that I have that much of a philosophy truly, Carl. All I know is that I know that these programs work and they keep me active. They help me with my disorders and my ADHD and my OCD. They have to be managed, and that is how I manage them, right? And that's me. I don't know that I have like this philosophy that says if I continue to do this, I'm going to live 20 more years, 30 more years, whatever. I know that a lot of that is genetic. My family lives a long time. Well, that's wonderful, but I do also know that I have all of those predispositions to my family history that I talked about at the beginning. And so for me personally, I'm able to do these programs and know that they're helping me stay healthy longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I wonder, do ADHD and OCD, do they progress if they're unchecked? Like,
Yes.
what happens?
They can. I mean, they can progress differently for every person. I mean, there's different spectrums of it. And so my OCD is not one of those that I have to check something 100 times. I just like order,
Mm.
right? That's what that does. My ADHD allows me to be disorderly. Like you're seeing this camera, what you're seeing right now, you're seeing a pretty orderly place. Right here in front of me is a mess of stuff, right? And so if I'm looking at the camera, I can be my OCD is fine. If I look at all this, it starts going bonkers because this is my ADHD side. It's tough. Again, I'm 62 years old. I've had this for a very long time. Everybody has to manage it differently. I'm able to manage it with these workouts.
Yeah.
And that's what works for me.
I think that's a great way to put it. When it comes to this idea of longevity, I really don't care about longevity. I care about health span. I care about how long can I function, the way I need to function to feel good in life, and that is my mobility, my mental acuity, memory, strength, and to a certain degree, the way my body feels, right? The way my clothes feel, the way I look in the mirror. That is so much more important to me than just the concept of longevity. And that's where health esteem and health span matter to me. That's why a program like Dig In was so um, surprisingly good for me because in a half hour, I was checking all the boxes
Yeah.
and I felt so gratified when it was done, like drenched. I felt the same way with 25-minute speed train, quite honestly. Is like drenched, and you sort of can't believe that you got this done in 25 minutes to a half hour, 35 minutes, whichever. And you're like, I just achieved something that most folks my age, our age, are either intimidated by or never got on board with the important consequences of staying active to maintaining a life that you love to live. You see depictions on TV and in movies and I even see my own aging parents, and I'm like, oof, I don't need to be 90 and feeling the way that's being depicted. Like,
Exactly. I mean, I'm an actor, and so I get sent on auditions all the time, and I tape the auditions, and people are like, "Wait a minute, we're looking for Dennis, you're this age." My agent will send me for younger stuff, and she sends me for younger stuff because I still have the mobility of a younger person.
so how young are you playing? Because when you said I'll give you a little compliment. When you said you were 62, I was shocked. Like, I thought maybe the guy just got into his 50s, and I'm not kidding you. I really thought, you know,
Thanks.
maybe, and, that's impressive and makes me wanna work out a little bit harder and start maybe improving my beauty regimen.
Well, there's genetics, don't forget, there's a lot to do with genetics, but I actually I was, sent to an audition 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, in November, I guess 4 weeks ago, for 45 years old,
Wow.
and got a call back. I mean, I didn't get the gig, but, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, good for you. Well, better than playing, uh better than being 60, but
I
playing
was
75-year-olds.
at 55, I was sent to an audition for a gig for they were looking for 55-year-olds, and they were doing, there was a local hospital doing an ad, and they said, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "I'm here because 'cause I'm 55 and over," and they're like, "No, you're not. You don't play that, so you gotta go." So, I mean, I was rejected from an audition because I didn't look the part of a 55 of what they believe a 55-year-old should look like. And that's another thing. I believe that we all look different, and this is what 62 looks for me.
Yeah. The most important thing that people get out of this podcast is insight into the strategies or requirements for the ability to keep going. To have done 71 different programs, many of them multiple times. Um, you got moods, you got ADHD, you got donut day, whatever. You got setbacks in life, career challenge. Like, how, Dennis, have you managed to stay consistent since 2013?
I truly believe that it's my own personal commitment to myself. And I think once people are able to clear the noise in our heads about why we can't do something, I believe that you'll be able to achieve whatever you want. I committed to doing 12 half marathons when I was 49 years old, when I hit so that when I hit 51, I will have completed 12 half marathons. I knew that I could, and let me tell you, it was not easy. Doing a New Year's Eve, December 31st, and then a New Year's Day back to back was exhausting. My body was aching, but In July of 2014, I did a new body program, and it helped and it reduced 10 minutes off my run time. I knew that this was what I needed to do. I also love the fact that I can find any kind of program that'll help guide me. I have a very busy schedule. Sometimes I have to travel 2, 3 times a month, and so I have to find something that fits into that, right? So being able to find a streaming service that has a variety of workouts, I can do whatever I want, but you have to commit to yourself. I mean, I had to commit to myself, and that was at 50. What did I do those first 49 years of my life? Right? And I mean, I don't wanna say I'm the exception because I'm not. I believe that once we clear the mess, and I call it the mess that's inside our heads, we'll be able to be successful and consistent.
To have done this for now 12 years or so, you've got options. One would say, well, I've worked my way through this catalog. Uh, why stay with Body? And I really appreciate your loyalty, by the way, or your repeat business, let's say, because I don't expect anybody to be loyal if it's not working for them. What is it about this platform or our approach to content that has served you? And rather than start to go out and see what else is in the world or explore YouTube or whatever.
The fact that you create new and innovative ways to work out. Dig In is the one that I just completed, is not necessarily 100% innovative, it's just unique, and the way it was I keep using the word curated, the way it was curated was perfect for me. It allowed me to do the weightlifting that I know I need to do that I hate to do, but it gave me the high intensity interval training stuff modified that I love to do. And so being able to say, I know that this company is going to create something that's gonna be innovative and is going to be, I don't wanna say, I don't know, state of the art. I don't know that I look at what's happening out there in the world in terms of, "Oh, this is what's happening in fitness." I just know that I like it, and it makes me feel, and that's really the most important thing. If I feel good, I'm gonna do it over and over again.
Yeah. Well, I'll take it. Totally appreciate it. I know there's a lot of great platforms out there. There is something about familiarity with the construct of a program, the demeanor of the trainers, and becomes a friend. And so that makes sense to me. But I sure do appreciate it, and have enjoyed you tagging me in your videos, and your support for Shakeology, your understanding and belief in the value of Shakeology for all these years. And it's just great to see a peer in age who respects the process and the content enough to stay with it. And we sure are proud of the results that you've had. So um, keep going. You are a great example of the body experience in practice. And we hope you keep spreading the word and inspiring people with your consistency. It's really great to see, Dennis.
Awesome, thanks for having me on here, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, look, that's a way to get the new year going. I mean, we're well into it now. It's time to take care of yourself with your health span in mind, and understanding that the more uh, the more consistent you are, not just with working out consistently, but choosing programs that fit with where you are in your life. What feels right for you? What does your body need? That's what this catalog of over 140 programs can do for you, and without the pressure to do the same thing over and over and over again, but instead to experiment, to try new modalities, to try new genre, s- check out new trainers, do short programs, do long programs, and collect those badges so that you feel a sense of completion and gratification that this lifestyle is an important part of your overall well-being, your mental well-being, and is going to extend the quality of your life, hopefully well into your 60s, 70s, 80s, and onward. So it's guys like Dennis that inspire me. So it keeps me going. And I hope that our conversation today might help you get started or at least keep going. So that's it for today's Body Experience. We'll see you next time. And until then, keep pushing play and make sure you love your body. Thanks, everybody.